Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show. Compared with the power armor worn by the Thunder Warriors, the power armor equipped by the Salamander chapter is more advanced. After turning on the thermal imaging detection device, they could see that there were thousands of silhouettes in their field of vision. Su Yan also actively turned on the thermal imaging function in the tactical helmet. In his field of vision, the natives who were similar to the lizard men were ambushed on the surrounding walls, ready to go. The scale armor they wear has the effect of optical invisibility. Moreover, their body temperature is low. Even in thermal imaging equipment, they can only be seen vaguely. Seeing this, Su Yan also waved his hand. Fire. 35, bang. 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 A large number of dragon flame bombs are fired. Immediately afterwards, those dragon flame bombs fell on the ground, and the flames shot out. In an instant, the entire underground cave turned into a sea of fire. In the flames, the invisible scale armors on those natives also lost their function. A large number of natives exited from stealth mode and rolled on the ground uncontrollably, trying to extinguish the flames on their bodies, and seeing this scene, Yi Huang also seized the opportunity. Shooting. The mercenaries of the God and Ghost mercenary group raised their laser guns again at this time. They aimed at the natives who were rolling on the ground, raised their hands, and shot them. 047. Boom. The laser directly penetrated the head of one of the natives. Immediately afterwards, one indigenous warrior fell one after another. But these indigenous people did not stop their offensive because of this. Su Yan found that more and more indigenous people appeared in his field of vision. The number of these natives quickly reached tens of thousands, and the huge underground space made them not crowded even if they stood here. Brush. Numerous natives held black dragon scale shields to form a line of defense. Black dragon scale shield, immune to fire burning, and can also reflect laser bullets. For a time, many indigenous armies formed a line of defense and approached step by step. Seeing the opponent approaching step by step, Su Yan also waved to signal the Salamander chapter to change to melee weapons. Those indigenous people have black dragon scale shields, and their ranged weapons are difficult to damage them. What is the origin of these natives? Their scale armor is not only good for stealth, but also good defense. Not to mention the dragon scale shield in the hand, it can not only reflect the laser, but also absorb various energy shocks. Yi Huang couldn't help but curse. He had never seen such a well-equipped native. Compared with the equipment on them, the equipment on their bodies is a lot inferior. But at this time, Su Yan did not answer Yi Huang. He glanced at the bronze door behind him, and said lightly, "No matter who they are, but looking at their posture, today either we die or they perish." 5. Instead of guessing about their origins, it is better to think about how to strangle them in a while. 99. Their numbers are far greater than ours, and long-range weapons are useless to them, and they can only fight in close quarters. Speaking of this, Yi Huang also understood. Things have gotten to the point of no return. Now, either these natives killed them, or they killed these blueprints. At this moment, Yi Huang looked at Su Yan, and Su Yan was actually taking pictures. Su Yan photographed the ancient text on the bronze door and sent it to the Hyperion. On the Hyperion, Lin Qingyue, who was on duty, also suddenly received a communication prompt. Hearing the voice of the communication prompt, Lin Qingyue also sat up immediately. "Ah? Captain, what happened? Do you need our help?" After Lin Qingyue saw that it was Su Yan's communication, she quickly became worried. And Su Yan sent a few pictures. "Exactly, Qingyue, do you know the ancient text on it? If you know me, please translate it for me." 35. Lin Qingyue opened the picture, glanced at it briefly, and quickly found the source of the ancient text in her mind. "No problem, I'll translate it for you now." After all, Lin Qingyue also began to translate the words on these bronze doors into Xinghai language. "My children are sleeping here, destruction and destruction are brewing in the darkness. My clan's mission will be inherited by it, and the new fear of Xinghai needs it to continue. devouring all things, the planet is nothing but ours. My child, I hope you grow up as soon as possible, your existence is the biggest fear in the entire Shanghai. The more she translated, Lin Qingyue couldn't help but feel a chill behind her. What kind of creature is it that dares to call itself the nightmare of Shanghai? Feeding on planets, viewing stars as playthings, roaming the sea of stars for hundreds of millions of years, and never had a natural enemy. The supreme creature in the sea of stars. When Lin Qingyue finished translating the last word, in an instant, she was cold all over, and a memory from an ancient time came to her mind. Once, a very terrifying creature did appear in the sea of stars. It is huge in size, and everything in front of it is as small as an ant. It feeds on the stars, and when it appears, the entire sea of stars will stop shaking. It has a creepy name. Star Eater Leviathan. Under the Tsunlong star, the members of the Gods and Ghosts mercenary group fought with these indigenous people. The members of the Gods and Ghosts mercenary group drew out their melee weapons, one after another of alloy long knives. As the head of the Ghost mercenary group, Yi Huang held a treasured sword. Along with it, the psychic energy burst out from his body, and the treasured sword also exudes an amazing aura. Brush! Yi Huang slashed at one of the natives with a knife. The native directly raised the dragon scale shield in his hand, and a gleam of light flashed in Yi Huang's eyes. I saw him stepping on his feet, dodging directly around the indigenous dragon scale shield, and slashing directly from the side. Brush! Blood splattered everywhere. Yi Huang directly killed a blueprint, and directly seized his dragon scale shield. But compared to him, the members of his mercenary group of gods and ghosts were not so lucky. They slashed on the dragon scale shield, and the strength of the dragon scale shield made them almost let go of the weapon. One of the natives used the dragon scale shield to bounce the weapon in the hands of the ghost mercenary group, and also showed a cruel smile. Taking the opportunity, he raised the metal spear in his hand and stabbed at the members of the ghost mercenary group. But at this moment, a stalwart figure stood directly in front of this native. The Space Marines of the Salamander chapter resisted the opponent's attack with their bodies of steel. When the native saw the Space Warrior's body, he couldn't help but swallow. In the next second, the Space Warriors of the Salamander chapter smashed the opposite side with a warhammer. In addition to the standard power swords and chainsaws, there will also be some Salamander chapter Space Marines equipped with sledgehammers and the like. The indigenous conditioned reflex on the opposite side wanted to resist, but in the next second, the huge power transmitted from the Space Warrior directly fell on the dragon scale shield. Although the dragon scale shield absorbed a lot of damage, it was just Yue that fell on the native, and the native felt as if he had been hit by a train. In the next second, the Space Warriors of the Salamander chapter took advantage of their unpreparedness to directly seize the dragon scale shield. Without the dragon scale shield, the fighting power of the indigenous people is greatly weakened. Boom! With a muffled sound, the natives on the opposite side died directly. The Space Warrior of the Salamander chapter looked at the mercenary behind him, and said in a very gentle tone, "Are you all right?" "I'm fine. You take this dragon scale shield." After all, the Space Warrior of the Salamander chapter threw the dragon scale shield to the mercenary. The mercenary burst into tears. On the battlefield, what could be more touching than a teammate who is willing to help you block damage and give you good equipment? At this time, Su Yan also received the bronze gate text translated by Lin Qingyue. When he saw the words on the bronze door, he was also extremely shocked. Star Eater Leviathan? Could it be that behind this bronze door is the star-devouring Leviathan's lair? Thinking of this, Su Yan also came to the bronze door and put his hands on the bronze door. If there really is a star-devouring Leviathan behind him, he must kill it in the cradle. The aborigines on the opposite side also became excited when they saw Su Yan touching the bronze door. A large number of natives even attacked Su Yan desperately, trying to stop Su Yan. But against the Space Marines of the mighty Salamander chapter, their onslaught is meaningless. Gravity control. The weight of the bronze door was instantly emptied, and Su Yan easily pushed open the bronze door. Rumbling. The bronze gate that was hundreds of meters high was directly pushed open by Su Yan. The rich energy spewed out from the bronze door like a tidal wave. The bronze door was pushed open, and what came into sight was a huge bronze temple. The huge temple is like a huge underground city. In various parts of the city, pure crystals that are sold at high prices from the outside world are scattered on the ground here at 02.6. Yi Huang couldn't help but take a deep breath after seeing the grand occasion in the bronze temple. Is this the gold content of a 5-star treasure? These pure energy crystals scattered on the ground alone are worth billions of star coins. Come on in. Taking advantage of the opening of the bronze gate, Yi Huang also let the members of the mercenary group hide in the bronze temple. And the aborigines behind them saw that they entered the bronze temple one after another, and they were even more anxious, like ants on a hot pot. They were so angry that they wanted to tear Su Yan and the others into pieces. The bronze temple is regarded as their belief, and the actions of Su Yan and others are trampling on their belief. But they don't know that what they believe in is the star-devouring Leviathan that is enough to drag the entire star sea into the abyss. When the last space warrior ran in, everyone directly closed the bronze gate. No matter how anxious those natives were, they could only be incompetent and furious at the bronze door. Get rich. So many pure energy crystals, it's not a 5-star treasure. Picking up a pure energy, Yi Huang's eyes seemed to be filled with the brilliance of star coins. But Su Yan's mind is not on this bronze temple at all. He has only one goal, that is the Star-Eater Leviathan. TSK, look at the purity of this pure energy crystal. Just this fist-sized pure energy crystal can be sold for at least 100,000 star coins in the market. 5-star treasures, the gold content is not ordinary. 39. First rare plants, and pure energy crystals. Yi Huang felt as if he had fallen into Baoshan. So many energy crystals, all sold, can at least get a huge wealth of billions of stars. Of course, if you want to transport these energy crystals out, the premise is that the aborigines outside can be cleaned up. These natives are still pounding the bronze door, but Su Yan has long been prepared. After they entered the bronze temple, he directly set 100 times gravity on the bronze door. The bronze door under 100 times the gravity is like a mountain. No matter how the natives attack, the door remains motionless. The members of the Gods and Ghosts mercenary group also looked at the pure energy crystals all over the ground, and their eyes were shining. In a place full of gold, no one can stand the test of gold. And Su Yan stood there, without the slightest yearning for the pure energy stone in his eyes. On the contrary, his eyes were full of seriousness and vigilance. The many space warriors of the Salamander chapter are also standing there, like a statue. At this time, Yi Huang also came to Su Yan's side. When he saw Su Yan so serious, he thought he was still worried about the natives behind the bronze door. So, 31 patted Su Yan on the shoulder. Brother Su Yan, don't be so nervous, those natives won't be able to come in for a while. 55, and Su Yan glanced at Yi Huang, and said very indifferently, Yi Huang, if the place we are standing now is a star-devouring Leviathan's lair, what do you think? Ha ha ha, Brother Su Yan, your joke is not funny at all. The star-devouring Leviathan has long since become extinct. And a star-devouring Leviathan can easily devour a planet, how could this be its lair? Don't scare me, I haven't seen anything in Inner Sea. Yi Huang looked at Su Yan in front of him, and also showed a smile. He directly took what Su Yan said as a joke. That is the star-devouring Leviathan, in the Shanghai records. The star-devouring Leviathan, a terrifying creature that feeds on the planet. Once the creature wakes up, it will break out of the inner shell of the planet. Just in youth, it can easily devour an entire planet. When it is an adult, it is even more powerful. It can be said that the entire Shanghai is nothing more than its cafeteria. Moreover, the star-devouring Leviathan has a very high intelligence. When they are still growing enough to be independent, they will cultivate and rejuvenate inside the planet. They will silently absorb all the energy around them as their nourishment. When they successfully transform into youth, that is, when they wake up, this time will also be the beginning of the entire Shanghai nightmare, This kind of creature has obviously disappeared in the sea of stars for more than hundreds of millions of years. Back then, when an adult star-devouring leviathan, the ancient empire lost tens of thousands of A-class ships, it was barely killed. Before that, thousands of planets had already been devoured by the star-devouring leviathan. Such a terrifying creature, once discovered, will be hunted endlessly to meet it. Its existence itself is a threat to the entire Shanghai. Yi Huang looked at Su Yan next to him, and gradually the smile on his face disappeared. The size of the star-devouring leviathan is indeed impossible to exist in the underground space of this Sunglong star. But, what if it was a young star-eater leviathan? As soon as this idea appeared in Yi Huang's mind, Yi Huang suddenly felt a chill surge into his heart. What do you mean, in this underground space, there is an immature star-devouring leviathan? As soon as these words came out, even Yi Huang couldn't help but feel tight in his heart. And Su Yan directly sent the translation on the bronze door to Yi Huang. Yi Huang glanced at the translation document, and when he saw the end, a trace of panic suddenly appeared in his eyes. This is the star-devouring leviathan's lair? Isn't this thing already extinct? Yi Huang couldn't believe his eyes. The bronze temple full of treasures in front of him suddenly turned into a purgatory-like place in his eyes. After Su Yan glanced at the bronze door, he also understood how the scale armor and dragon scale shields on the indigenous people came from. The equipment on those indigenous people is very likely to be the scales of the star-devourer Leviathan when he grew up. The star-devouring Leviathan was born with extremely high intelligence. Perhaps those natives were bewitched by it and became the guardians of the star-devouring Leviathan. And when we just came in, those aborigines were so anxious, indicating that there is a high probability that behind this bronze door is where the star-devourer Leviathan is. This star-devouring Leviathan is still in his infancy, so he needs those natives to protect him. Having said that, Su Yan couldn't help but feel that these indigenous people are really stupid and ignorant. Once the star-devouring Leviathan becomes an adult, it will devour Kanglongsing. At the same time, these natives will not live long. But these natives didn't know that the star-devourer Leviathan was using them, and instead regarded the star-devourer Leviathan as a god. Sometimes ignorance and ignorance are the worst enemies. Hearing this, Yi Huang frowned slightly. He began to realize that this bronze hall might not be as simple as he imagined. Then what's next? At this time, Yi Huang couldn't help but look at Su Yan. This is the first time he has encountered such a thing. The star-devouring Leviathan is an extremely vicious beast that exists in the historical records. Of course, to strangle this infancy of the star-devouring Leviathan in the cradle. You don't think that if this star-devouring Leviathan grows up, we'll be fine? At that time, the entire Shanghai will be affected, and its threat is no weaker than those of the Zerg and Iron Man. Having said that, Su Yan also walked towards the front of the bronze hall. Not long after, they came to the end of the bronze hall. At the end of the bronze hall, they finally saw the rumored star-eater Leviathan. A creature covered in black scales was curling up in front of them. Its stature is as high as tens of thousands of meters, and this is just what it looks like when it is curled up. When it wakes up and unfolds its body, I don't know what it will look like. Just in its juvenile form, the star-devourer Leviathan has already shown its amazing aura. Yi Huang couldn't help swallowing when he looked at the huge star-devouring Leviathan in front of him. This is the star-eater Leviathan. This is also the first time he has seen the real star-devouring Leviathan outside the history books. Immediately afterwards, Yi Huang also looked at Su Yan. What are they going to do with this star-devouring Leviathan? They are not the existence of ancient empires, they have the blessing of star-level weapons. It is not easy to deal with this star-devouring Leviathan. Although it is in its juvenile form, the power of the star-devourer Leviathan cannot be underestimated. Su Yan looked at the star-devouring Leviathan in front of him, and said to Yi Huang, the safest way now is to record the photo of the star-devouring Leviathan, and then send it to the ancient empire after going out. Those guys in the ancient empire should know better than us what kind of harm the star-devourer Leviathan will cause to the Shanghai once he becomes an adult. After hearing Su Yan's suggestion, Yi Huang also agreed. The creature, the star-devouring Leviathan, has a combat power comparable to a fleet. Ordinary fleet really can't do anything about it. This kind of thing is best to go to the Gamma Empire or the Libra Empire. According to the rumors, the last star-devouring Leviathan was killed by the Libra Empire. Now the corpse of the star-devouring Leviathan is near the Star Ring, the capital of the Libra Empire. I heard that it has been transformed into a commercial city. After all, the star-devouring Leviathan is full of treasures. Brush. Suddenly, the star-devouring Leviathan, who was still sleeping, suddenly opened his eyes. After a pair of vermilion eyes opened, 047 stared at Yi Huang stubbornly. And Yi Huang's expression changed when he saw the star-devouring Leviathan wake up. Su Yan. Behind you. Roar. Before Su Yan could react, a gust of wind hit. The entire bronze hall began to collapse, and the star-devourer Leviathan actually woke up early. Su Yan frowned as he looked at the star-devouring Leviathan, who was gradually getting bigger in size behind him. What's the situation? It is not to say that the star-devouring Leviathan was in a dormant state when it was not necessary in its childhood. Why did it choose to wake up at this time? And its emotions are full of anger. It seems to be stimulated by something. When the star-devouring Leviathan woke up, the entire Songlong star also had a violent earthquake reaction. In Wangyang Sea, a huge crack suddenly appeared. All the sea water poured back into the cracks at this moment. A huge head rushed out of the crack, and the huge body directly overturned the entire submarine plate. Warning: a strong biological reaction has been detected underground. DG also detected the life activity reaction of the star-devouring Leviathan for the first time. When Lin Qingyue heard the warning sound, she immediately became nervous. Because at this time, Su Yan and the others are still underground in Songlong Star. Roar. The star-devouring Leviathan burst out from the ground, and its huge body was hundreds of thousands of meters long. The huge body crawled out from the ground of Songlong Star, like a cub crawling out of an egg shell. For a time, all the creatures on Songlong Star began to panic. And Star-Devourer Leviathan is like a child who was awakened at the moment, constantly roaring and venting his inner dissatisfaction. With the help of the buoyancy of the sea water, Su Yan and others quickly escaped from the underground bronze hall. Looking at the star-devouring Leviathan in the distance, Su Yan couldn't help but curse. Why did this star-devouring Leviathan wake up so early? Is this star-devourer Leviathan's head a little abnormal? If you wake up early, there is no benefit to this star-devouring Leviathan. However, it is very likely that it heard the conversation between Su Yan and Yi Huang, so it chose to wake up early. At this time, in the field of vision of Su Yan and Yi Huang, the star-devouring Leviathan rose into the air, and the huge body actually flew like a ship. Seeing this scene, Su Yan also secretly cried out. No, this star-devourer Leviathan is going to escape. If they really let this star-devouring Leviathan escape, it will not be easy for them to find this guy again. Chase. Never let it escape. Once he is allowed to escape, when it makes a comeback, not only them, but the entire Shanghai will suffer. They don't want one day in the future, their fleet will encounter an adult star-devouring Leviathan. Su Yan also directly opened the technical watch in his hand and began to call the Hyperion remotely. And Yi Huang also began to call his flagship, the Sun Moon Star. After the two ships received the news, they rushed over immediately. Just when Su Yan and others were calling for the flagship, the star-devouring Leviathan had already escaped from Kanglongsing. In the fleet of the gods and ghosts mercenary group in outer space, all the mercenary members also saw the figure of the star-devouring Leviathan. However, they did not recognize this starry beast as the famous star-devouring Leviathan. Hey, there is still such a huge starry sky beast on Songlong Star. What the hell is this monster? It's bigger than our ships. Wait, this monster seems to be coming towards us. F***CK, get out of the way, this monster is coming towards us. Roar. The Star-Eater Leviathan let out a roar, and it opened its bloody mouth and bit one of the ships. Boom. A ray of fire burst out from its mouth. In front of the star-devouring Leviathan, the huge ship is like a small dried fish, which can be swallowed easily. Seeing that the ships they were traveling with were destroyed, the members of the ghost mercenary group were also in a cold sweat. At this time, the Hyperion made a spatial leap and teleported directly from the surface of Sunlong Star into outer space. After seeing the star-devouring Leviathan, Su Yan did not hesitate to press the button of Yamato Cannon. Boom! The Yamato Cannon blasted directly at the star-devourer Leviathan. The huge energy beam fell directly on the body of the star-devouring Leviathan. The Yamato Cannon dissipated, and a blood hole appeared on the body of the star-devourer Leviathan. The Star-Eater Leviathan let out a painful roar. When Su Yan saw the injury, she couldn't help but gasp. Even the strongest Yamato cannons can't deal lethal damage to it? It has such a strong defense only in its infancy. If it reaches adulthood, wouldn't Yamato gun have to scrape it? Now, Su Yan really wants to know how the ancient empire killed this terrifying creature in the first place. Roar! The Star-Eater Leviathan looked at Su Yan's Hyperion. I saw that a large amount of energy began to gather in its mouth, and a huge energy ball gathered in its mouth. Seeing this, Su Yan immediately activated the space warp system of the Hyperion. Whoosh! The next second, the Hyperion disappeared in place. But the energy light ball in the mouth of the star-devouring Leviathan passed directly through the Hyperion and landed on the Sunlong Star. In an instant, a huge mushroom cloud rose from the surface of Sunlong Star. When the smoke and dust dissipated, a very conspicuous pothole appeared on the entire Sunlong Star. Hiss! Su Yan, who escaped the catastrophe, couldn't help but take a deep breath after seeing the power of the energy light ball. Afterwards, Su Yan also immediately mobilized other ships to attack the star-devourer Leviathan. Rumbling. Helios ships and Valkyrie fire ships also launched a violent attack on the star-devouring Leviathan. Endless flames rose from the body of the star-devouring Leviathan, and the violent firepower directly engulfed it. But the next second, the scarred star-devourer Leviathan rushed out of the flames. One bite of the Moon-class cruiser. The huge Moon-class cruiser has become very miniature in its mouth at this moment. Seeing this, Su Yan's expression changed. If it goes on like this, my Moon-class cruiser will not be able to keep it. Emperor, turn on overload mode. At this time, Su Yan also decisively chose to start the overload mode. The Hyperion's overloadable reactor is also boiling again. Boom! 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 Several Yamato cannons also fell directly on the body of the star-devouring Leviathan like a torrential rain. The star-devouring Leviathan screamed again and again, and finally, under the blessing of pain, it gave up the Moon-class cruiser in its mouth. The Moon-class cruiser was directly thrown away by it. When did the Moon-class cruiser encounter this kind of grievance? I saw that the Star-Eater Leviathan also turned around and attacked Su Yan's Hyperion. At this moment, a ship suddenly appeared in Su Yan's field of vision. At an extremely fast speed, this ship passed in front of the star-devourer Leviathan. It was like a sharp scalpel. After slicing through the star-devouring Leviathan, it left a deep visible bone wound directly on the star-devouring Leviathan. A large amount of blood spewed out from the body of Leviathan. When Su Yan saw the figure of the ship clearly, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. That ship was actually Yi Huang's Sun Moon Star, and his Sun Moon Star had just reached sublight speed in an instant. But in just a moment, it was out of the state of sublight flight. Su Yan was curious about what engine his ship was using to achieve such a flexible speed change. You must know that before any ship enters the sublight speed flight state, it must carry out a buffer distance. Otherwise, no ship would have been able to withstand such rapid speed changes, but his Sun Moon Star has done it. The extremely fast speed makes the Sun Moon Star itself an extremely sharp blade. If it is in the fleet, this move is enough to destroy several ships and smash Huanglong. The star-devourer Leviathan, who was severely damaged by the Sun Moon Star, also understood that the two fleets in front of it were not simple fleets. With its current strength in its infancy, it is simply not enough to fight against these two fleets. Therefore, the star-devourer Leviathan has already had the intention of withdrawing at this time. But at this time, even if it wants to escape, it will not help. All the ships have surrounded it. Yi Huang and Su Yan gave an order. A large amount of firepower fell directly on the star-devouring Leviathan like a torrential rain. In the flames, the star-devourer Leviathan struggled constantly. Such a huge firepower, if it is an ordinary S-class ship, it should be bombed into a pile of scrap metal at this time. But at this time, the star-devourer Leviathan still has room to fight back. Roar! The star-devouring Leviathan rushed out of the flames and attacked the ship of the Ghost Mercenary Group directly. This will be its final counterattack. And Su Yan is rude, and the Yamato cannons are fired continuously. Boom! Along with that, the last Yamato cannon penetrated the head of the star-devouring Leviathan, and its body gradually lost its vitality. Su Yan could not help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw that the body of the star-devouring Leviathan was no longer alive. Exit overload mode. After exiting the overload mode, DG slumped on the ground, gasping for breath. The time to enter the overload mode this time is much longer than the last time. DG felt that she could barely hold on anymore. And Su Yan glanced at his Moon-class cruiser. The one that was attacked by the star-devouring Leviathan suffered heavy losses. If it is not for the existence of recycled steel, it is estimated that this Moon-class cruiser has reached the brink of scrapping. The Moon-class cruiser with such a strong defense has become like this. If it was another ship, it would have been scrapped by this time. Thinking of this, Su Yan couldn't help but look at the Ghost Mercenary Group. The Gods and Ghosts Mercenary Group suffered a lot, and their ships were damaged a lot during the first wave of attacks. This time, Yi Huang was going to bleed heavily. In the communication channel, Yi Huang also had lingering fears on his face. Brother Su Yan, it seems that we finally killed this star-devouring Leviathan reasonably. I never knew this thing could be so scary. Just in its infancy, killing it actually cost our two fleets a lot. At this time, what Yi Huang was more looking forward to was that they reasonably killed the star-devourer Leviathan. If this thing spreads out, the fame of both of them, of Zhao, will definitely increase greatly. In that part of the inner sea, your name is sometimes better than your cannon. What should I do with the corpse of this star-devouring Leviathan? At this time, Yi Huang also raised this important question. The star-devouring Leviathan in front of him might be the last star-devouring Leviathan in the entire Star Sea. The value of the last star-devouring Leviathan was comparable to the value of 10 paradise planets. How to say this star-devouring Leviathan is also worthy of a paradise planet? But the point is, who should I sell this to? If it were other forces, they couldn't eat this star-devouring Leviathan. Thinking of this, Su Yan also has a few candidates in his heart, and these candidates will definitely be able to win the entire Star-Devourer Leviathan. Therefore, Su Yan also decisively opened his own communication channel. In his communication list, whoever can take down this star-devouring Leviathan is nothing more than two forces. Mei Shui from the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce, and Jin Luo from the Jin clan. These two are very rich. One holds the most prosperous golden galaxy in the outer sea, and the other holds the important commercial position at the intersection of the inner sea and the outer sea. In his own communication list, neither the Sun Alliance nor Hyles is worth any money. And these two people should understand the value of this star-devouring Leviathan better than others. 7-star building, Chamber of Commerce office. At this moment, Mei Shui, the president of the 7-star Chamber of Commerce, was sorting out the auction materials for the upcoming 7-star auction. Looking at the auction list in her hand, Mei Shui also raised the corner of her mouth slightly. In recent years, for some unknown reason, subspace storms in the inner sea have become frequent. But because of this, a large number of rare treasures that exist in the subspace are also released. Looking at the list of auction items in his hand, Mei Shui was also hot. Adding up these things, the value is probably enough to make the entire 7-star Chamber of Commerce to a higher level. You must know that the 7-star Chamber of Commerce has not made progress for many years. For Mei Shui, no progress is a regression. But after this auction, the value of the 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce will definitely increase several times in the entire Shanghai. Maybe, when the time comes, you can consider entering the inland sea. Thinking of this, Mei Shue's eyes also ignited a raging fire. The 7-star Chamber of Commerce has been active near the Devil's Triangle for generations, and this time she must make the 7-star Chamber of Commerce famous. To become bigger and stronger, to be well known both at home and abroad. This time, whether the 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce can soar to the sky depends on this auction. Ding dong. At this moment, Mei Shue's communication channel also indicated that there was news coming. Not many people know her contact information, who will send her a message at this time. Open the communication channel. The first thing that catches your eye is a picture. After seeing the creature in this picture, Mei Shue stood up directly. She opened the Xinghai database, and after repeated inquiries, she also confirmed the identity of the creature in the picture. The legendary star sea monster, the Star Eater Leviathan. 047, isn't this thing extinct? The corpse of the last star-devouring Leviathan has now been transformed into a commercial city. However, in the records, the stature of the star-devouring Leviathan was several times larger than this. Could this be a juvenile Star Eater Leviathan? Continuing to look down, this message was sent to her by Su Yan. Su Yan? Su Yan, boss, I recently hunted a star-devouring Leviathan. Although it was a child, it is likely to be the last star-devouring Leviathan in the Sea of Stars. Su Yan, is the boss interested in collecting it? You know more about the name of the star-devouring Leviathan. That's right, the release of the name Star-Devourer Leviathan is enough to shock everyone. After all, this is one of the few top predators standing in the Xinghai pyramid. In the historical records of Xinghai, this creature has clearly disappeared. Now it reappears in the eyes of the world, and the sensational effect it causes can bring enormous benefits. As a businessman, what is the most important thing? Fame. The more famous you are, the more customers will come here. Mei Shue also took a fancy to the value of the star-devouring Leviathan, and now the 7 Stars auction is imminent. I'm worried that I don't have any good means of publicity, isn't this coming? If the news that the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce has acquired a star-devouring Leviathan is passed on, it will be tantamount to adding fuel to the fire. The name of the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce will definitely be famous. Thinking of this, Mei Shue's eyes lit up. Mei Shue, although I don't know how your kid got this Star Eater Leviathan, this Star Eater Leviathan is indeed a peerless treasure. Let's make a price. DBCG, Su Yan, don't worry, boss, you are not the only one who takes a fancy to this star-devouring Leviathan. Seeing this sentence, Mei Shue sneered while sitting in the office. What are you kidding? Someone dared to compete with her for the ownership of the Star-Devourer Leviathan? Ever since she was born, Mei Shue has never been able to buy what she wants. In the entire open sea, there are very few people who can compete with her for financial resources. She wanted to see who was out of her control and wanted to compete with her for the ownership of this star-devouring Leviathan. Gold Galaxy, Financial Star. In the office of the Jin clan building, Jin Luo leaned on the chair and enjoyed a rare leisure time. Recently, she finally took all the shares of the Jin clan into her own hands. It can be said that now the financial star moves her finger casually, and the economy of the entire Golden Galaxy will be shocked. After collecting all the shares, the economic growth index of the Golden Galaxy actually increased. Those guys before were really assholes in the Jin clan. Without them, the development space of the Jin clan is even bigger. Thinking of this, Jin Luo couldn't help but look at the list of accounts on her desk. She began to think that the current Jin clan is like a big tree revived. The first time it regained its vitality, there was only one thing this big tree could do, and that was expansion. Jin Luo began to think about a plan, whether it was possible to acquire all the galaxies around the Golden Galaxy for transformation. In this case, a huge golden economic zone can be created. A very risky plan with an astronomical amount of money invested, but if it is successful, it can be said that the entire economy of the outer seas will be in the hands of the Jin clan. This plan also took root in Jin Luo's heart. Just when Jin Luo was still thinking about the difficulty of implementing this plan, a message popped up on her technological wrist. Special concern Mr. Su Yan sent you an email. After seeing the message prompt, Jean Luo immediately put down all her thoughts. Later, she also directly opened the technology watch to check the email information. The first thing that caught my eye was the picture of the star-devouring Leviathan, and Jean Luo was the first to recognize that it was the star-devouring Leviathan. Star-devouring Leviathan? It looks like it should be infancy. 9. Su Yan should be in the Devil's Triangle now, and he is now able to hunt down the star-devouring Leviathan. It's not a loss, he has not yet entered the inner sea, he is already so powerful. Jean Luo's first thought was not on the star-devourer Leviathan. On the contrary, what surprised her was that Su Yan had grown into such a powerful being in such a short period of time. Su Yan, is the boss interested in this star-devouring Leviathan? Jean Luo, interest is not small, you make a price. Su Yan, don't worry, there is another boss who wants it too, why don't you two discuss it? Jean Luo, what is the negotiation, what price she offers, I will pay double. Ah. Jean Luo also showed a disdainful smile. Compared with financial resources, she has never lost anyone? There are people who don't have long eyes and want to compete with themselves for the ownership of this star-devouring Leviathan? Seeing that the two rich women had already taken the bait, Su Yan also smiled knowingly. Afterwards, he decisively dragged Mei Shui and Jean Luo, two super rich women, to the same communication channel. When Mei Shui and Jean Luo saw their competitors, they were also embarrassed. The two of them claimed to be super rich women, but their financial resources combined, they were really evenly matched. Thinking of the cruel words the two of them had just released, the two of them couldn't help but feel a blush. Mei Shui, long time no see, Sister Jean Luo. Jean Luo, it's been a long time indeed, Sister Mei Shui. The two were also the first to greet each other, and Su Yan saw that the two had similar conversations, so he spoke directly. Su Yan, too, this star-devouring Leviathan is the leader of the mercenary group of gods and ghosts, and the two worked together to kill. Su Yan, so, I am not the owner of this star-devouring Leviathan, and the two can only be obtained by the highest price. Su Yan, the starting price is 10 billion star coins. I believe that as the last star-devouring Leviathan, it should be worth this price. At this time, Su Yan was also a little curious, to what extent these two super rich women could increase the net worth of this star-devouring Leviathan. You must know that Jean Luo was a planet when she casually shot. 10 billion star coins may be an astronomical number for ordinary people. But for the two super rich women, that's not even their pocket money. On Yi Huang's side, after seeing the identity of the two rich women bidding, he couldn't help but gasp. Jean Luo, the ruler of the Jin clan of the Golden Galaxy, Mei Shui, the president of the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce. These two are famous super rich women from overseas, how could Su Yan be able to contact them? At this time, the two rich women also finished their chat, and a contest of financial resources also began. Mei Shui, if I give out 20 billion star coins, can Sister Jean Luo reluctantly part with her love? This star-devouring Sister Leviathan is very rare. Jean Luo, I gave 50 billion star coins, Mei Shui sister, this may be the last star-devouring Leviathan, don't you understand its value? 80 billion. 100 billion. 150 billion. 200 billion. Looking at the communication channels, the prices of the two are constantly rising. Yi Huang couldn't help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. What is a rich woman? This Temo is the rich woman, and the price increase is 50 billion 50 billion. I have worked hard for so many years in the inner sea, and I have earned less than 10 billion. But just for a moment, the price of this star-devouring Leviathan is enough to build a brand new fleet. And Su Yan is also very calm at this time, he knows very well that the strength of these two rich women is far more than that. Sure enough, the auction has come to a hot stage. Mei Shui, I will give out 500 billion star coins, and at the same time add a resource mine planet worth 100 billion. Jean Luo, I am 600 billion star coins, plus a resource mine planet worth 100 billion. Good guy, the two rich women directly started gambling with the planet. Su Yan was sitting on the mountain watching the tiger fight, and Yi Huang next to him was dumbfounded. To be honest, he has been in the inner sea for so many years, and he has never seen so many star coins. He couldn't help but look at Su Yan. There was no change in this guy's face. Can the price go up a little more? In the blink of an eye, the price has come to astronomical figures. The two rich women also began to consider whether it was worth it. After all, this star-devourer Leviathan is only in its infancy, and its value is limited. If it's an adult star-devouring Leviathan, that's another story. In the end, I will give out another 1 trillion star coins, plus 5 mineral planets in the inner sea. If you continue to increase the price, then I will give up. In the end, Mei Xue also said the final price. 1 trillion star coins, plus 5 inland sea mineral planets, this is already the maximum price she can pay. She knew very well that no matter how rare the star-devouring Leviathan was, it was only in its infancy. The use value of the star-devourer Leviathan in her childhood was limited. If it wasn't for Mei Xue's plan to use the star-devourer Leviathan's fame to open the 7-star auction, she would not have insisted on taking this star-devourer Leviathan. Tan. And Jin Meng gave up decisively after seeing Mei Xue's offer. In her eyes, although the star-devouring Leviathan is rare, it has not yet reached the point where she bleeds. Compared to herself, Mei Xue seemed to pay more attention to the star-devouring Leviathan. After thinking about it, Jin Luo decided to give up the competition for the star-devourer Leviathan. Jin Luo, I give up. This star-eater Vitten belongs to you. Mei Xue, thank you. This small auction also came to an end. Yi Huang, who was a bystander, widened his eyes and couldn't believe it when he learned the final transaction price. 1 trillion stars, plus 10 resource planets? This must be too embarrassing. Yi Huang has been in Shanghai for so many years, but he has never encountered so many stars. At this time, the corner of Su Yan's mouth rose slightly, and the transaction price was far beyond his exception. At least for now, he seems to be making a steady profit. Mei Xue, I will directly transfer the star coins to your supreme card. As for the 10 resource planets, the electronic title deeds have been sent to you, and you can come to the office to get the physical title deeds. Su Yan, okay. Next, Mei Xue also arranged a huge cargo ship from the 7-star Chamber of Commerce to drag the body of the star-devouring Leviathan to the 7-star Chamber of Commerce. After arranging the matters on Mei Xue's side, Jin Luo also contacted Su Yan privately. This time you have made a lot of money. Mei Xue should use this star-devouring Leviathan as a publicity stunt for the 7-star auction. For this auction, she has put a lot of thought into it. You can be considered a bargain. It's normal, she may not be able to pay such a high price. Jin Luo didn't expect that it had only been so long since Su Yan left the Golden Galaxy, and she could even hunt down the star-devouring Leviathan. He gave himself too many surprises. And Su Yan also asked Jin Luo, will you come to the 7-star Chamber of Commerce this time? Of course, this is one of the best activities overseas. Furthermore, this auction will likely be the largest ever. 35. Maybe some rare treasures will appear at that time. Of course I have to go there. Afterwards, Jin Luo also spoke again, with a hint of ambiguity in her words. I'm raising the price for you so high, I'll be angry if you don't invite me to a meal. 99. Of course, when you come to Huan Yuxing, just contact me. The two also exchanged polite greetings, and then Su Yan also took the initiative to hang up the communication signal. At this time, Yi Huang couldn't wait to pay dividends. 1 trillion star coins, even giving him 500 billion in the inner sea, is enough to arm a powerful army. But at this time, Yi Huang had already made a decision in his heart. Brother Su Yan, I have an idea here, you give me those 10 resource planets. And the 1 trillion star coins, I don't want a penny. How's the distribution going? For Yi Huang, the resource planet in the inner sea is far more important than the star coins. Inland sea forces are intricate and complicated, and it takes a lot of effort to find an unowned resource planet. And if these 10 resource planets are included in their own territory, their power will definitely increase significantly. For him, the value of these 10 resource planets is far greater than those star coins. After listening to Yi Huang's suggestion, Su Yan agreed decisively. No problem, the title deed of the planet belongs to you, and the coins belong to me. 55. Su Yan also readily agreed. Because, here, he does not have his own territory in the inner sea. Even if these 10 resource planets fall into their own hands, they cannot immediately create value. It can be said that these 10 resource planets are a problem for Su Yan. Since Yi Huang said so, the resource planet belongs to him, and the star coins belong to himself. Both people get what they need, and the interests of both are maximized. After the allocation was completed, Yi Huang was also in a good mood. He originally went to the outer seas to simply gather talents, but he did not expect that this trip would stop at Topaz Star because of the warp storm. I thought it was unfortunate, but who knew that when I met Su Yan, I directly obtained 10 resource planets. A wave of riches made Yi Huang gasp. Now only one word can be used to describe Yi Huang's mood. Cool. After earning a lap in the outer sea, he has earned a huge wealth that he may not have been able to obtain in the inner sea for decades. Thinking of this, Yi Huang's gratitude to Su Yan is beyond words. If there is no Su Yan, it is estimated that he can only watch the star-devouring Leviathan escape. Brother Su Yan, from now on the two of us will be brothers, your business is mine. 35. In the future, if you enter the inland sea, if someone bullies you, tell me your name. When the time comes, I will call those guys back and forth, Yi Huang also said to Su Yan with a package ticket, and Su Yan was also polite. Soon, the cargo ship of the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce also came to bring the body of the star-devouring Leviathan back to Topaz. The fleet of Su Yan and Yi Huang also acted as escorts, escorting the corpse of the star-devouring Leviathan back to the Seven-Star Chamber of Commerce. You must know that this star-devouring Leviathan was bought by Manhwa at a high cost. In addition to the fleets of Su Yan and Yi Huang, there were also numerous mercenary fleets escorting the cargo ships back to Topaz Star. Even if the Heavenly King-level forces came to this aura, they would still encounter ashes. Fortunately, nothing happened along the way. Even some interstellar pirates with short eyes flew over, and before they got close, they were crushed into ashes by the endless firepower. The body of the star-devouring Leviathan was also transported back to Topaz Star. But after they came to the Beta Galaxy, they found that a large number of ships were parked in the Beta Galaxy. Obviously, they were all notified and came to pay their respects to the star-devouring Leviathan. Hey! It's really a star-devouring Leviathan, such a big body. I thought the Seven-Star Chamber of Commerce was falsely advertising, but I didn't expect that they actually got a star-devouring Leviathan. Seeking flowers. Star-devouring Leviathan? Isn't this thing already extinct? Fortunately it was killed, otherwise the entire Shanghai would be in panic again. 35. Now there are Zerg raging in the past, and Iron Man is recovering later. If you add a star-devouring Leviathan, there will be no way to survive. Under the promotion of the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce, many people who eat melons also came to watch. Originally, at the beginning, they also did not believe in the existence of the star-devouring Leviathan. However, after seeing the corpse of the star-devouring Leviathan now, they have to believe in the existence of the star-devouring Leviathan. The huge body requires 2 giant cargo ships to drag. It took a lot of effort to drag this huge guy back. Fortunately, this star-devourer Leviathan is only in its infancy. If the adult star-devourer Leviathan appears in the outer seas, it is estimated that only the ancient empire can handle it. I heard that this time it was the star-devouring Leviathan that was killed by the inner sea Heavenly King level force and a force called the Longing Fleet. Longing Fleet? This is the fleet of that faction? Why have I never heard of it? Speaking of the Longing Fleet, you may be unfamiliar. If it is their captain Su Yan, you must understand. Su Yan? Is that the blue star human who saved the Western Union some time ago? Hey, no wonder they were able to kill the star-devourer Leviathan, both sides are strong. Speaking of the Longing Fleet, everyone may be unfamiliar. But when it comes to Su Yan, they are quite familiar. After all, since the Battle of the Silver Light Galaxy, Su Yan's name has been resounding throughout the outer seas. In the following large-scale battles, Su Yan's name became famous throughout the Qinghai. At this time, the Star Devourer Leviathan was also suspended in the space of Topaz Star. Standing on the surface of Topaz Star, everyone can see the huge body of the star-devouring Leviathan. After completing the escort mission, Su Yan and Yi Huang also returned to Star Harbor. The first thing they did when they returned to Star Harbor was to find professional boatmen to repair and maintain their fleet. After a storm, the maintenance of the ship is naturally indispensable. Su Yan left the Hyperion, and when he walked out of Star Harbor, he couldn't help but be shocked by the sight in front of him. In the period of time after he left, Huang Yuxing has changed drastically. After arriving at Qixing Square, there were many propagandists holding brochures and handing them over to passers-by. Su Yan took over the brochure and was also attracted by the information above. The 7-star auction is coming soon. This will be the grandest auction event ever. About this 7-star auction, we have prepared the following products for auction. Auction Item 1, One Inner Sea Paradise Planet. A paradise planet in the inner sea? Hiss. Is the first lot at this auction so big? Auction Item 2, A Resource Planet containing pure energy crystals. Auction Item 3, A Psionic Seed. These are just appetizers, and the blockbuster auction items are still to come. After reading this flyer, Su Yan only felt that she had to go to open her eyes for whatever she said at the 7-star auction. Paradise Planet is nothing but an auction item at the top of the market. Su Yan was very curious about what was the last blockbuster item. If you're enjoying my content, please consider donating a coffee. Or checking out my shirts on TeePublic. Everyone, take a look, our store is all 50% off from now on. During the 7-star auction, all products in our store are buy one, get one free. Xingye's great reward, now give 10,000 star coins for 10,000 star coins. Don't come again when you can't miss it. Don't miss it when you pass by, the epic jump off the building. As the 7-star auction was about to start, the flow of people in the 7-star building also increased tenfold. In order to promote the 7-star auction this time, Mei Xue also put in a lot of effort. Compared with previous years, the propaganda efforts are not as good as in previous years. Although there is the influence of the warp storm, it is still unable to resist the swarming of the star sea races from the major galaxies. After walking into the 7-stars building, Su Yan couldn't help but sigh. During the time when he left, the 7-stars building has undergone tremendous changes. All kinds of discount activities, presumably Lin Qingyue and the others like this scene very much. But Su Yan didn't have time to stay here, so he walked straight into the elevator and went to the 7-star Chamber of Commerce office on the 100th floor. On the 100th floor, when Su Yan came here, there were also 2 guards standing at the door. The 2 guards glanced at Su Yan and let them go without saying a word. Before 047, Mei Xue had warned them that Su Yan would come over in a while, so the 2 guards didn't stop him either. And Su Yan has now become a celebrity, and together with Yi Huang, the head of the ghost mercenary group, hunted down the star-devouring Leviathan. This incident has spread throughout the Devil's Triangle, through the operation of Mei Xue. Su Yan came to the door of the office and knocked on the door. Please come in. After getting permission from Mei Xue, Su Yan also pushed open the door of the office. In the office, Mei Xue's eyes were a little tired, but even so, it was difficult to hide the joy on her face. During this period of time, she worked hard for the auction. Now that it was finally at a critical moment, Mei Xue naturally did not dare to relax in the slightest. Fortunately, her efforts were not in vain, and everything was developing in the best direction. You are here, the physical title deeds of these resource planets are here. Saying that, Mei Xue also pointed to the land deeds on the table. Mei Xue had already prepared these land deeds, and Su Yan also checked some after picking up the land deeds. There is really no problem with these land deeds, and now he can hand over these land deeds to Yi Huang. At this time, Mei Xue also asked, "You saw the brochures outside when you came here just now?" "I saw it, it's not bad, I didn't expect the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce to be so big. Even the Paradise Planet in the Inner Sea can be auctioned, which is not something that ordinary chambers of commerce can come up with. Hearing Su Yan's praise, the tiredness on Mei Shue's face seemed to disappear. Later, Mei Shue also looked at Su Yan. I hope you can participate in this auction. The final auction item will never disappoint you. After hearing this sentence, Su Yan also became interested. What kind of finale auction item could actually make Mei Shue remind herself? Thinking of this, Su Yan also replied, when the time comes, I will go there. After all, Su Yan also left here. After getting Su Yan's answer, Mei Shue also leaned back on the chair and looked up at the ceiling. This time I'm going to shock everyone. Soon, the day of the 7-star auction came. On this day, the entire starport of Topaz Star was full. Even so, on the star trail of Topaz Star, there are still many star sea races from all directions. People come and go on the streets, and the hawkers in the entire business district are even more happy. One day's traffic today is comparable to their 1-month traffic. A large number of Shanghai races also came here because of their fame. Although they could not participate in the auction, I heard that many important people from Shanghai would also come to this event. Look! Look! Is that person the 6-star commander of the Sun Alliance, Dao Wujian? It's really the 6-star leader of the Sun Alliance, Dao Wujian, and he's also coming to the auction. Look, the one next to him is the Alliance commander of the Western Alliance, Gu Wu. He actually came to participate in the auction. The Western Union has a close cooperation with the 7-star Chamber of Commerce. Even if it is to give the 7-star Chamber of Commerce face, they will come to support. I didn't expect that this time, the Western Alliance would actually send an Alliance leader-level Gu Wu to participate. You must know that the Alliance commander of the Western Alliance is the supreme existence that commands all fleets. Its status is equivalent to that of a general who held military power in ancient times. Unexpectedly, the Western Union would actually send such a heavyweight presence this time. After Gu Wu saw Dao Wujian, he also greeted thousands of people. Brother, long time no see. Brother Gu, I didn't expect you to come to the auction this time. Gu Wu and Dao Wujian also had a chat. As one of the best forces in the outer seas, the Sun Alliance and the Western Alliance are also closely related. While the two were talking, there was another commotion in the crowd. When the crowd dispersed, Jin Luo, dressed in full costume, also appeared in front of the two of them. The moment they saw Jin Luo, the faces of Dao Wujian and Gu Wu also became very serious. You know, today's Jin Luo is not the Jin Luo of the past. Today's Jin Luo has mastered all the shares of the Jin clan, and has reorganized the entire Jin clan. The current Jin clan can be described as a thriving tree in the open sea. As the only person in power of the Jin clan, Jin Luo's influence is evident. Miss Jin Luo, nice to meet you. In front of the current Jin Luo, even Gu Wu, the president of the Western Union, and Dao Wujian, the 6-star commander of the Sun Alliance, did not dare to be slighted. And Jin Luo also had the aura of a superior at this time, and also greeted the two of them for a while. After seeing Jin Luo in front of them, everyone around them couldn't help but talk about it. This is the current ruler of the Jin clan that controls the Golden Galaxy. To be so young, I thought she was a woman like the president of the 7-star Chamber of Commerce. Shu, keep your voice down, she's something you dare to judge casually, people can kill you just by smashing them with star coins. Before the crowd could react, a gloomy aura also spread. A pale-faced vampire wearing a black robe walked over to the venue with a gloomy expression. As a blood clan, he was able to act in an open and fair manner under the sun. Either he is a half-blood, or he is the true ancestor of the legendary blood family. Only the true ancestor of the blood family can ignore the erosion of ultraviolet rays. It is obvious that the blood family in front of him belongs to the latter. Because this person is Count Raphael, one of the 10 kings of the Inland Sea. However, at this moment, Count Raphael's face was not good, even if he was the true ancestor of the blood race. Being exposed to ultraviolet rays like this made him feel a little uncomfortable. Immediately afterwards, after Count Raphael entered the auction venue, another heavenly king-level force, Yi Huang, the head of the God-Ghost mercenary corps, also appeared in everyone's field of vision. However, there was a familiar human figure beside Yi Huang. This person is Su Yan, and Lin Qingyue next to Su Yan is also looking at the auction venue in front of her like a curious baby. The huge venue in front of him was a venue specially built by the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce to hold the auction. Its area can accommodate 10 million people at the same time, and there are many private rooms in it. Even in the private room, you can watch everything in the venue. Is this the 7-star auction? I only heard from my father before that he once participated in the 7-star auction. I heard that the goods inside are treasures even if they are placed in the inland sea. 99. The scale of this auction is so large, there will definitely be a lot of good things. Thinking of this, Lin Qingyue's eyes also lit up. And Su Yan also put her hand on her head to calm her restless heart. Yi Huang next to him also held his arms and said mysteriously, I heard that the finale item of this auction, but the 7-star Chamber of Commerce paid a lot of money to get it. Its value is not even below the star-devouring Leviathan we hunted. Hearing this, Lin Qingyue was even more excited. And Su Yan held her head down to prevent Lin Qingyue from running out excitedly. For a little rich woman like her, nothing excites her more than shopping. And the intimate interaction between Su Yan and Lin Qingyue also fell in the eyes of Jean Luo, who was not far away. I don't know why Jean Luo felt depressed after seeing this scene. But she didn't show it directly on her face, she walked straight towards Su Yan. Dao Wujian of the Sun Alliance also noticed Su Yan for 2.6 times. After seeing Su Yan, he was also ready to go to say hello. But at this time, Jean Luo had already come to Su Yan first. Su Yan, it's a coincidence that you are also here for the auction. Last time you promised to invite me to dinner, when are you going to honor it? At this time, Lin Qingyue keenly smelled a strong sour smell in the air. She glanced at Jean Luo, and she was also alarmed in her heart. Then, she directly hugged Su Yan's arm and swore her sovereignty. Jean Luo's eyes narrowed when she saw this, and at this time, Gu Wu of the Western Alliance and Dao Wujian of the Sun Alliance also came over. Brother Su Yan, long time no see. You are the famous Su Yan, whom I have admired for a long time. I am Gu Wu, the President of the Western Union, and it is a pleasure to meet you. For a time, the Western Alliance, the Sun Alliance, the Jin Clan, the God and Ghost Mercenary Group, four incomparably powerful air forces gathered together. And these four forces happened to have an indissoluble bond with Su Yan. Su Yan looked at the few people around, and couldn't help but wipe a cold sweat from her heart. It's almost time for the auction, so let's get in first. Entering the venue, Su Yan was once again surprised by the handwriting of the 7 Stars Chamber of Commerce. The size of the entire venue can even stop a ship. The huge venue, the decoration is very luxurious. Even the most common seats are custom-made from expensive materials. It can be said that even people in ordinary seats will not feel the slightest discomfort after taking their seats. The auction platform in the center of the venue is equipped with a holographic projector. Even the smallest auction items can be clearly seen by everyone in the audience under the action of the holographic projector. Su Yan took the seat marker on her auction ticket and was also looking for her seat. At this time, an auction staff also came over. Is that Mr. Su Yan? Because you are a premium card user of our 7-Star Chamber of Commerce, we have prepared a special luxury private room for you. Please come with me, I will take you to your exclusive box. And such a good thing? Su Yan was also a little surprised, but he knew very well that this might not just be the effect of the supreme card. More, it should be Mei Shui's kindness to him. At this time, Jean Luo saw Su Yan walking towards the private room, and she followed directly. Another staff member next to him saw this and immediately followed. Afterwards, the staff member also said to Jean Luo very humbly, Miss Jean, your private room has been prepared for you. But this time, Jean Luo gave him a cold look. At this moment, the staff member felt as if he was in a world of ice and snow. The biting cold made him unable to move. Su Yan, you shouldn't mind if I sit in a private room with you. At this time, Jin Luo also took the initiative to join up. And Lin Qingyue clearly felt a hint of threat, no matter how stupid she was at this time. You can also sense Jin Luo's affection for Su Yan. Facing Jin Luo, Lin Qingyue unexpectedly took the initiative to say, "Don't you have your own private room? What are you doing with us?" The private room is so big, it is lively when there are many people. And, when the time comes, I can help you check it out. Although the auction items are all peerless treasures, you can't buy everything. What kind of product is more suitable for you? I should know better than everyone here. 55. At this time, Jin Luo also directly threw out a reason that no one could refuse. After Lin Qingyue heard these words, she suddenly felt that there was some truth. Seeing that Jin Luo insisted so, Su Yan also looked at the staff aside. Can other people come over in the private room? When the staff member was about to open his mouth to refuse, he suddenly felt a sharp-edged gaze. Jin Luo's eyes were cold, like a sharp blade piercing through his body. At this time, if you answer truthfully, you will definitely not end well. The staff member swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and also showed a smile that was uglier than crying, when, of course. Hearing this sentence, Yi Huang was also excited. Brother Su Yan, don't mind me rubbing your private room. The private room is much better than the single seat outside. I heard that there are all kinds of fruit platters in it. You don't mind if I go there too? Su Yan also agreed. Since the staff said that other people can come over, there should be no problem with adding a Yi Huang. At this time, Dao Wujian looked at Guwu on the side. I remember that the private room can only be a single room. Guwu motioned to Wujian not to say some inappropriate words. Afterwards, Guwu also went over Cheeky. This is a great opportunity to make friends with the head of the ghost mercenary group and the Jin clan. Soon, the private room was also arranged. Jin Luo sat on the single sofa in the private room and looked around. I saw that Yi Huang was indulging in the fruit plate and drinks in the private room, and Guwu and Dao Wujian were sitting in front of each other, as if they were guests. And Lin Qingyue was naturally sitting next to Su Yan. Seeing this scene, Jin Luo couldn't help but feel depressed for a while. How did things get like this? Originally, I wanted to create an opportunity to get along with Su Yan, but who knew it would turn into a private room party? The staff also reported the situation of this private room to Mei Xue. After listening to the staff's report, Mei Xue couldn't help but smile bitterly. Oh, let them go. Get ready, the auction is about to start. This auction, if anyone dares to make any mistakes, don't blame me for being ruthless. Now the members invited by the auction are also entering the venue one after another. The originally empty venue was bustling with people from all over the world. Many Shanghai races also looked at the huge venue and were complacent. After all, for them, being able to participate in this auction is a symbol of their dignity. You must know how many people outside want to come in, but there is no such way. And under the attention of many Shanghai races, the auction was also held. On the auction platform, as the president of the 7-Star Chamber of Commerce, Mei Xue also stood up. Everyone, I'm very happy to come to the auction site held by our 7-Star Chamber of Commerce. There are many products in this auction, and these products are the rare treasures we have collected from the Sea of Stars. 35. The auction will be held for 3 days. During these 3 days, if you like any product, you can use the auction facilities on the seat to increase the price. There are so many products, I'm not talking nonsense, and we will start our first auction of products. A paradise planet from the calm sea of the inner sea. Paradise planets are planets with rich and diverse biomes that are rich in minerals. Only one such planet will be born out of tens of millions of planets. And this kind of planet is also the ideal planet territory that the major star sea races want, and a paradise planet is the most suitable start. The most important thing is that this paradise planet is still in the inner sea. That is to say, if a creature from the outer sea takes pictures of this paradise planet, he is equivalent to having a territory in the inner sea. Having no territory in the inner sea means that you are just a rootless duckweed after all, and no one will look down on you no matter how powerful you are. The size of the territory and the strength of the fleet will affect your position in the inner sea. The starting price is 1 billion stars, and each increase shall not be less than 100 million stars. Everyone, enjoy this auction. As soon as the voice fell, the holographic projection of this paradise planet also appeared in everyone's field of vision. The huge projection allows everyone to even see the vegetation on the surface of the planet clearly. Everyone looked at the paradise planet in front of them. The most important thing was that the coordinates of this paradise planet were actually in the Sea of Calm. Among the 5 sea areas in the inner sea, the Sea of Tranquility is the safest sea area. Buying this paradise planet in this sea area as a planetary territory, whether it is a trade center or an inland sea residence, is an excellent and first-class place. I bid 2 billion stars. Haha, I'm embarrassed. For 2 billion star coins, I'll give out 5 billion. 10 billion, it's worth this price. 12 billion star coins. The price of this paradise planet has also soared, directly reaching the level of 30 billion. At this point, the price of this paradise planet has begun to soar slowly. In the private room, Su Yan was also a little surprised. Unexpectedly, the first auction item was actually a paradise planet. Su Yan touched her chin, also thinking about whether to shoot. I will soon enter the inland sea, and after entering the inland sea, it is particularly important to have a private territory. With his own personal territory, he can collect money and strengthen himself in the inner sea. Even when the fleet is on standby, it can also have a place to rest. The large-scale starports in the inner sea are basically controlled by major forces. In the inland sea, while the ship is being repaired, it is not rare to launch an attack. At this time, Jin Luo seemed to see Su Yan's desire and spoke directly. I suggest you wait. This paradise planet is good, but its geographical location is not good. You can see that those big hands basically didn't make a move, because they know that this paradise planet can only be used as a springboard between the inner sea and the outer sea. If your goal is just to enter the inner sea, you can make a move, but if you want to continue to the core sea, I suggest you give up. The location of this paradise planet is not suitable for explorers like Su Yan. Because its location is already on the edge of the Sea of Tranquility, even if it is bought, after Su Yan enters the inner sea, the range of activities can only be limited to the vicinity of this planet. If you are active in the inland sea, you must take every step of the way, once you are out of the scope of the territory. That is equivalent to a kite with a broken string. It is very important to choose a territory. Su Yan glanced at Yi Huang and saw that Yi Huang was also frantically showing off his fruit plate, and he didn't even raise his head when facing the auction of Paradise Planet. He has long seen that this Paradise Planet is not suitable for explorers like them. The ultimate goal of Su Yan and explorers like him is to enter the core sea. This Paradise Planet is not suitable for use as a springboard. Soon, this Paradise Planet was also sold at an amount of 50 billion. Su Yan glanced at it, and the people who just launched the auction seemed to be members of the Chamber of Commerce. It seems that the reason they are eyeing the goal of this Paradise Planet is also to transform this planet into a springboard commercial planet between the inner sea and the outer sea like the Devil's Triangle. Immediately afterwards, the second auction item also came on stage. The first item was sold at a price of 50 billion, then next, we will conduct an auction for the second item. Everyone must be familiar with this product. There are 10 fruits of life, and the starting price is 1 billion star coins, and each increase must not be less than 100 million star coins. Warp weapons are a major trend, and he must also join the research on warp technology. Otherwise, when you enter the inner sea, you will definitely suffer a loss in the face of the opponent's warp technology. This kind of thing may not be used by itself, but it must be. In front of me, if the warp crystals of this ship are given to those mechanical priests, maybe they can really research something. Thinking of this, Su Yan also decided to take action and try to get some. Soon, the price soared to 90 billion coins. 100 billion star coins. When Su Yan called out the last price, he was also thinking about it. If someone offers a higher price, you will stop yourself. But the price stops abruptly here. In the end, Su Yan won the warp crystal of this ship at a price of 100 billion. I didn't expect you to be interested in warp crystals. Jin Luo also didn't expect that the first thing Su Yan shot, or Zhao, won was actually a warp crystal. And Su Yan also smiled and said, "This thing will come in handy sooner or later." Before entering the inland sea, it's always right to know about the warp. Hearing this sentence, Jin Luo didn't say anything. After all, the warp crystal is a new type of resource that has only emerged in recent years. Even her understanding of these subspace crystals is not very deep. Soon, the time of the day passed quickly. The first day of the auction also came to an end, and everyone got what they wanted. Su Yan also took the warp crystal from the cargo ship. According to the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce's advice, the cargo ship is now docked in Topaz Star's private dock. At that time, if Su Yan is free, he can send someone to the dock to remove the cargo from the ship. As for the almost rusting frame of the cargo ship, it can be sold to the dock at a cheap price. Just as Su Yan was about to leave the venue, the familiar voice resounded in his mind again. Ding, a special check-in location was detected, the scene of the 7-star auction. Do you need a special check-in? Good guy Spoon. I waited left and right, and finally waited for the appearance of the system. And this time it was a special check-in. Su Yan decided to sign in. Fruit of life? Hearing these 4 words, the whole venue was filled with waves. The fruit of life? Is it the fruit of life that claims to be able to bring back the dead? 99. Isn't this thing only the tree of life planted by the elves can bear? Is the Seven Stars Chamber of Commerce so capable? How can they get the fruit of life from the elves? What are you still doing? Take a quick photo. This is the fruit of life that can bring people back to life, and there is even a chance to activate psionic energy after eating it. Such a powerful fruit of life, it is hard not to feel heartbroken. Even the people in the private room couldn't help but be moved after hearing the name of the fruit of life. Yi Huang wiped his mouth, and his eyes also glowed. The fruit of life is equivalent to the second life. For the interstellar voyagers wandering in the sea of stars, who would dislike having too many life-saving things? A fruit of life is equivalent to a life. And in front of them, there are 10 fruits of life. It represents 10 opportunities to come back, and no one will refuse such an opportunity. I'm going to get a kick out of this fruit of life. Yi Huang directly participated in the auction. Jin Luo, who was next to her, also participated in the auction, but she was interested in the effect of consuming the fruit of life, which had a chance of activating psionic energy. Even Gu Wu and Dao Wujian couldn't help but join the auction. Not long after, Yi Huang saw that the price of the fruit of life had directly exceeded the 10 billion mark, and he immediately stopped. Although the fruit of life is precious, there are not many funds at his disposal. I was thinking of trying to fight for it, but there were too many local tyrants present, and I couldn't grab them at all. Soon, the price also soared to 100 billion, with an average of 10 billion for a fruit of life. And these 10 fruits of life were also taken by Jin Luo in their private room. In the entire private room, Jin Luo's wealth was definitely greater than the sum of them all. Jin Luo also broke through the siege and got this auction item directly. And at this time, Jin Luo discovered that they were all fighting for the fruit of life just now. Su Yan didn't react at all. In terms of the star coin assets at his disposal now, no one except Jin Luo can compare to Su Yan. Even the poorest Yi Huang couldn't help but participate in the auction of the fruit of life, but Su Yan actually didn't move. Su Yan, what's up? Aren't you interested in this fruit of life? Jin Luo is also a little curious. It is an extremely rare fruit of life. If you miss this time, you may never meet again in this life. And Su Yan touched his chin and said lightly, "This thing is not what I want. And, how can I win over you rich people? Rather than hurting here, let's see if there are any other items I want." 35. After listening to Su Yan's words, Jin Luo didn't pursue it any further. After all, everyone has their own aspirations, and perhaps Su Yan's goal is not here. In fact, The reason why Su Yan did not participate in the auction of the fruit of life is that there is now a tree of life in his ship's cultivation room. In other words, Su Yan doesn't have to worry about the fruit of life that he will never meet again in the future. The tree of life in his ships will naturally bear the fruit of life when it matures. Instead of competing with these rich people for the ownership of the fruit of life, it is better to use the remaining money on the edge of the knife. The auction will continue, and the next products are even more exciting. Under the hot field of Paradise Planet and the fruit of life, the atmosphere of the entire auction has also reached a hot stage. Rare treasures were pushed out one after another, and a lot of star coins were thrown out. Mei Shui, who was in the background, saw that the income of this auction had reached an astonishing number on the first day, and a rare smile appeared on her face. Next, we're going to auction a ship. After the holographic projector was turned on, everyone also saw the whole picture of the ship. The tattered ship body, a lot of rust, covered the whole body. The entire ship looked like a pile of scrap iron, with no value at all. After seeing the whole picture of this ship, everyone talked a lot. Did the 7-star Chamber of Commerce make a mistake and put this tattered ship on the auction? Compared with other commodities, this ship is completely incomparable. The whole venue was also full of discussions. At this time, the host of the auction had already expected this result, and he continued to add. Everyone, this ship is not our main item in this auction. Our main auction this time is the cargo in this ship. According to our information, this ship is a cargo ship named Night Song, which disappeared in the Sea of Death tens of thousands of years ago. But just recently, it has returned through a warp storm, and its cargo ships are loaded with warp crystals that contain warp energy. 5. Everyone should know the value of these warp crystals. In addition to these warp crystals, there are a lot of unlocked goods. The starting price is 100 million stars, and everyone can increase the price at will. 99. Warp crystal, a rare mineral that contains warp energy. This crystal will only appear in places where warp storms are frequent. The warp crystal has many uses. In addition to being used as an energy source, it is also an extremely powerful explosive weapon. When the warp crystal is stimulated, it will explode, and the powerful warp energy will open a warp channel at the explosion, swallowing the enemy. Generally, the latter is the correct way to use the warp crystal. Many forces in the inner sea have begun to develop ways to use warp crystals. Weapons such as warp crystal bombs have already appeared. It can be said that the value of warp crystals as a strategic material will only get higher and higher. These subspace crystals alone are enough to be used as commodities in this auction. As for the treasures on the cargo ship, it has been so many years, and even if there is something in it, it should have been almost corrupted long ago. What they are looking for are those warp crystals. That is the real treasure. Yi Huang glanced at the item projected by the holographic projector, and said with some sigh, I thought the 7-star Chamber of Commerce was crazy, and even a broken ship dared to auction it. It turns out that there is something special about this cargo ship. Next to Jean Luo, rubbing her chin, she was also thinking about whether she should participate in this auction. You know, in recent years, subspace weapon technology can also be regarded as an emerging technology. The frequent occurrence of warp storms has caused deposits such as warp crystals to appear along with them. Sadly, the main application of this warp crystal is in weapons. Warp energy weapons such as warp crystal bombs and warp armor-piercing black hole missiles also came into being. Jean Luo wanted to get involved in this research, but compared to the inner sea, the frequency of warp storms in the outer sea was not high. If you want to study the warp crystal, you must spend a lot of money to buy the warp crystal. This ship's warp crystal may definitely meet the research requirements. At this time, Su Yan pressed the auction button. 10 billion star coins. Su Yan took a fancy to these warp crystals. I have a group of mechanical priests in my hands. Some time ago, the mechanical priests have developed the space barrier device. Not only that, they also combined the void shield and the space shielding device. Once a ship is trapped, there is basically only a dead end. Sign in successfully. Congratulations on your successful acquisition of the V-shaped Yamato cannon blueprint, the SS-class ship Aden's spear, and the coordinates of the Garden of Eden. Good guy. When the sign-in was successful and seeing these signed-in items, Su-yen couldn't describe his shock. This special check-in actually signed so many things. The first is the V-shaped Yamato cannon that Su-yen is thinking about. My own Hyperion is just one step away from being promoted to an SS-class ship. The appearance of the V-shaped Yamato cannon finally allowed him to successfully complete the last piece of the puzzle for the SS-class Hyperion. Then, the second reward was the Arc of Doom of the Protoss, the Spear of Adon. Compared to the Hyperion, what Su-yen valued more was its support capability. Su-yen opened the technology watch to check the attributes of Adon's spear, and found that there are still many technologies that have not been unlocked in the Adon spear in front of him. For example, Su-yen didn't see the purification beam powerful enough to burn half the planet into glass. In other words, the current Spear of Adon is not yet in its full form. If you unlock all the technologies, you may be able to be promoted to SSS-class ships. Fortunately, the logistical functions that Su-yen wanted, the Spear of Adon had the functions he wanted. Refactored light, crowd recall, and shield overload. These functions are all available, and the most important thing is that Adon's spear also has a warping resonance with the Hyperion. However, compared to the Hyperion, it can perform multiple charging transitions. The Spear of Adon is still slightly inferior. The spear of the ship Adon is already coming to Huan Yuxing at this moment. Please sign the host in time. The system also automatically arranged the Spear of Adon. You must know that 047 Adon's spear, as an Arc of Doom, is even 10 times larger than its own Moon-class cruiser. It seems that the two Moon-class cruisers will no longer be able to exist as their largest ships in the future. And Su-yen finally set his eyes on the coordinates of the Garden of Eden. Produced by the system, it must be a boutique. The V-shaped Yamato cannon in front, and the Spear of Adon are very much in line with him. Now the coordinates of the Garden of Eden will not disappoint him too much. Coordinates of the Garden of Eden, the coordinates of a planet that exists in the Sea of Tranquility. After seeing this introduction, Su-yen was also at a loss. Just a planetary coordinate? So why is it called the Garden of Eden? This made Su-yen puzzled. It seemed that if he wanted to know what was special about this planet, he had to go to the location of the planet after going to the inner sea. Putting away the astrolabe that recorded the coordinates of the Garden of Eden, Su-yen also left the auction venue and walked towards the dock. He did not forget that in the dock, there was also a cargo ship moored. Taking advantage of the fact that there is nothing to do now, Su-yen also intends to go over and transport the warp crystals in the cargo ship back to his own ship. He has already told the mechanical priests about the warp crystal. Now, those mechanical priests are like children waiting to be fed, urging Su-yen to bring back those warp crystals as soon as possible. Just in case, Su-yen also brought the Salamander chapter. The tragedy of the West Wind Fortress last time seemed to be right in front of me, and Su-yen didn't dare to be careless in the face of this kind of cargo ship that was fished out of the warp. Soon, the Salamander chapter Space Marines in green power armor also followed Su-yen to the dock. When they came to the dock, they only saw one duty officer on duty. At this moment, it was late at night, and due to the auction, the staff in the dock was also very scarce. This is the key to dock number 9. I've given it to you. That cargo ship is now in dock number 9. After getting the key to the dock, Su-yen also took the key and entered and started looking for the number 9 dock. Soon, they also came to the number 9 dock. A huge 9-point font is marked on the gate. Su-yen also used the key in his hand to open the gate of number 9 dock. In the darkness, a behemoth just lay in the number 9 dock. Looking at the huge cargo ship in front of him, Su-yen also turned on the fluorescent lights of dock number 9. Under the sunlight, the appearance of the cargo ship also appeared in front of him, as Su-yen's bodyguard, Bying also followed Su-yen to seize the warp crystal. With a big wave of Su-yen's hand, he also signaled the space warriors of the many Salamander chapters to harvest the warp crystals in the cargo ship. Through the gap in the cargo ship, Su-yen could see that in the cargo ship, the warp crystals were like mushrooms, growing in various ways inside the cargo ship. Su-yen simply estimated that the ship's warp crystals contained at least 1 ton. For such a huge number of warp crystals, 100 billion purchases are quite cost-effective. The most important thing is that there are many treasure chests on this cargo ship. If you can open some good things from these treasure chests, you will make a lot of money. However, Su Yan also knows very well that it is a miracle that the treasure chests inside such an old cargo ship are still well preserved. At this moment, the duty officer of a dock also heard the movement here and came over. Are you the ones who have come to handle this cargo ship? If you take your things away from this cargo ship, do you still need the frame of this cargo ship? If you don't want it, why don't you sell it to us at the Topaz dockyard? After hearing the words of the duty officer, Su Yan also smiled. He happened to have such a plan. This cargo ship has been corroded beyond appearance. Apart from the warp crystal inside, there is basically nothing of value. Su Yan originally planned to sell the frame of the cargo ship to Topaz dockyard after moving the warp crystals. DBCG, otherwise, it would take a lot of work to deal with such a huge cargo ship. Of course, I still need to trouble you to deal with it. No trouble, no trouble. Do you need a truck? I'll drive one for you. Then trouble you. 35. After finalizing the ownership of the cargo ship's frame, the staff member also went to drive the truck to load the warp crystals for Su Yan. After all, if he caused Su Yan to sell the cargo ship, he would also get a lot of commission. And Su Yan was also looking at the cargo ship in front of him. At this moment, buying next to him felt something was wrong. Captain, there is a psionic reaction in this cargo ship. Psionic response? At this time, Su Yan also felt a psionic reaction in the cargo ship. Looking at the tattered cargo ship in front of him, Su Yan frowned slightly. How could this cargo ship have a psionic reaction at this time? Su Yan also felt something was wrong. He rushed out of the bolt gun directly, and then the spiritual energy also surrounded his body. Go in and see. Su Yan also went directly into the interior of the cargo ship. When he entered the interior of the cargo ship, he realized something was wrong. The temperature in the cargo ship was actually 10 degrees lower than the outside world. At this time, the space warriors of the Salamander chapter also ran over. Captain, we found a very strange magic circle in the warehouse, please come and check it. Array? After hearing these two words, Su Yan was even more puzzled. So, he also went straight to the warehouse location. When he came to the warehouse, he also saw a blood-red magic circle on the ground of the warehouse emitting a faint light. After Su Yan saw the blood-red magic circle, he couldn't help but frown. The psionic aura that you feel is emitted by this magic circle? Looking at the magic circle in front of him, Su Yan felt a little ominous. Report to the captain, we just discovered this magic circle when we were cleaning the cargo. It had been under these loads until we moved it away and it started to look like this. Boom! Su Yan fired a shot directly, and the bomb went directly through the iron plate of the warehouse. But this magic circle still has no meaning to stop. Seeing this, Su Yan motioned to the Space Marines of the Salamander chapter to use a flamethrower to burn the circle. The Space Warriors of the Salamander chapter did the same, using flamethrowers to aim at the magic circle in front of them. Call. A lot of flames spewed out. But in the next second, a shocking thing happened, and this magic circle seemed to come alive. All the flames ejected by the flamethrower were absorbed by the magic circle. After absorbing the flames, the original array became even more ferocious. Seeing this, Su Yan immediately stopped the flamethrower attack. Fire burning is useless to this magic circle. At this time, Su Yan also sounded Lin Qingyue. Ugh. At this time, Lin Qingyue was probably the most familiar with this magic circle. Thinking of this, Su Yan also planned to repeat the old trick. He took a picture of this magic circle and sent it to Lin Qingyue. At this time, Lin Qingyue was on the Hyperion, putting on a mask and preparing to sleep. Ding! At this time, her technical watch also popped up a special care prompt. Su Yan also assigned this red circle to Lin Qingyue. Su Yan, Qingyue, help me check, what the hell is this magic circle? Lin Qingyue opened the picture, and her expression changed when she saw the magic circle on the picture. At this time, Lin Qingyue also immediately tore off the mask on her face. Then she turned on her own technology watch, and she seemed to have seen this magic circle somewhere. This should have been found in a very remote book, so that in my mind, although I feel that this magic circle is somewhat familiar, but I don't know what it is. Lin Qingyue, wait a minute, I should know what this thing is. Although Lin Qingyue didn't understand the true meaning of this magic circle, this thing definitely didn't make him feel good. Finally, Lin Qingyue finally found the electronic version of that skill in the technology watch. Do warp demons exist? Found it. Books about warp demons, even in large libraries, books about warp demons are very rare. Because the existence of warp demons has always been a kind of existence similar to rumors. All Shanghai scholars believe that the warp demon is just an unknown creature made up. But with more and more rumors of warp demons appearing, all scholars' attitude towards warp demons has gradually become more and more important. However, so far, no specific examples of warp demons have emerged. When Lin Qingyue saw this, she almost didn't react. It is rumored that such strange magic circles will exist wherever warp demons have appeared. This magic circle cannot be eliminated by conventional methods, and any energy will be absorbed by the magic circle. If you want to get rid of the magic circle, you can only use the blood containing spiritual energy to destroy the structure of the magic circle. Once the array structure is destroyed, the array will disappear. There was once a scholar who wanted to paint this array, but when he was only halfway through painting, the whole person went crazy and ran away. After this incident, no one would dare to study this array easily. That is to say, the magic circle in front of Su Yan is exactly the magic circle about warp demons in legends. And at this moment, Su Yan stood in front of this magic circle and saw a dazzling light from the magic circle. Suddenly, a dry palm stretched out from the circle. Boom! Su Yan cut off the gun decisively, and a bolter directly hit the dry palm. The dry palm exploded directly under the penetration of the bomb. Warp Demon, 35. Immediately afterwards, the warp demon climbed out of the magic circle at an extremely fast speed. The warp demon in front of him looked like a starving ghost, and his dry body seemed to have not eaten for hundreds of years. A pair of orange-yellow eyes revealed cunning and cruelty, and it just stood there, making people feel a burst of disgust. And this warp demon showed a smile, only to see him lift his palm that had just been smashed. In the eyes of everyone, the broken palm also recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the next second, this warp demon actually spit out human words. Everyone, good evening. Don't worry, I have no ill will towards you. I am nothing but a humble businessman. 99. Are you interested in making a deal with me? Whether it is immortality or power, wealth or women, as long as you are willing to trade with me, these are not problems. The warp demons are also good-natured, and their voices seem to be bewitching, and they keep getting into Su Yan's ears. But at this time, Su Yan, after experiencing Mei Shua's spiritual attack, had already used his psychic energy to protect his sanity. The psionic trigger, a refreshing meaning, directly liberates Su Yan from the bewitchment of the warp demons. Boom! A bomb hit the warp demon's head directly. The chattering voice of the warp demon also stopped abruptly. But then, the body of the warp demon actually started to recover again. And this speed is extremely fast, almost in the blink of an eye, the warp demon returns to its original appearance again. Oh, this guest, is my introduction too cumbersome? I'm so sorry, are you trying to make a deal with me? The warp demon also showed a Philistine smile, as if he was a businessman who could endure any insult in order to trade. But at this time, the news of Lin Qingyue also popped up on Su Yan's technology watch. Lin Qingyue, Captain, that magic circle is the summoning circle of the warp demon. Lin Qingyue, this magic circle can only be eliminated by destroying its structure with the blood of psionicists. Su Yan, I have already encountered a warp demon, but it seems that this guy can't be killed no matter how he fights. Is there any solution? Lin Qingyue, I'll go check it right away. After Lin Qingyue saw the news, the drowsiness she had originally had disappeared suddenly. Su Yan actually ran into the rumored warp demon. I heard that once ordinary people encounter warp demons, it is basically a situation of 10 deaths and no life. Thinking of this, Lin Qingyue couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat. How to do? Lin Qingyue kept rummaging through book records, but among all the books about warp demons, there seems to be no precedent for killing warp demons. Finally, Lin Qingyue found an interview record in a book. A psionicist in the Ron galaxy said that he had encountered a warp demon, but in an interview with a reporter, he said that the psionicist's blood can cause substantial damage to the warp demon. But then, the reporter wanted to check the corpses of the warp demons, but was told that after the warp demons died, their bodies would turn to ashes, and their souls would return to the warp. After the interview, the reporter believed that the matter of the warp demons was just a lie fabricated by psionicists in order to improve their status. In the entire book, there are only a few short sentences that describe how to deal with warp demons. However, back then, this psionicist was regarded as a lunatic who wanted to be famous. Because the turmoil of warp demons was quite big at the time, many people fabricated various events to kill warp demons. However, these incidents have been refuted one by one, and this psionicist is naturally regarded as a guy who wants to be grandstanding. However, in Lin Qingyue's opinion, the idea of psionicist blood is much more reliable than those so-called garlic exorcism. Su Yan glanced at the information on his tech wrist, and then glanced at the warp demon on the opposite side. This warp demon was also obediently waiting there, and seeing that Su Yan was answering the message, he also stopped talking about his introduction. Seeing Su Yan's gaze on him again, the warp demon also showed a smile that was uglier than crying. As soon as he snapped his fingers, a golden demon statue appeared in his hand. "Guest officer, as long as you trade with me, this golden statue is a small gift." And Su Yan looked at the warp demon lightly. "So, what's the price?" Hearing this sentence, the warp demon seemed to see the dawn of victory. He stared at Su Yan stubbornly, and then said, "I just need a little bit of your soul, and of course there won't be any pain in the process. Moreover, after your soul is extracted, there will be no difference. Is it very cost-effective? You only need to pay a small price to get a huge amount of wealth. So, to trade?" When it came to this, the warp demon already felt that this business was a sure thing. His face also became more and more hideous. And this time, Su Yan raised the bolt gun in his hand. Boom! A bomb directly hit the body of the warp demon. Suddenly, a huge pothole appeared in the chest of the warp demon. The face of the warp demon also changed at this time, but he still asked patiently, "Master, do you have any questions? The body of our warp demon is the soul that exists in the warp, and this body is nothing but a shell that we use to gather energy. Of course, if you want to vent your anger, please feel free. No matter how many times my body is damaged, I can repair it." The warp demon is also smiling, but at this moment, the warp demon's heart is like a powder keg that is about to explode. Damn starseed creatures! How dare these lowly ants treat me like this? When he signs a contract, I can extract his soul. At that time, I will torture his soul severely and let him know what the hell is going to happen to the blasphemous demon. At this moment, the demon of the warp space can't wait to smash Su Yan into thousands of pieces. But for the sake of his soul, he also endured it. You only need to collect the soul of another creature, and you can be promoted to a high-level demon. At that time, I don't need to use that bullshit contract to deceive the soul of the creature. High-level demons are the existences that can directly plunder the soul. With this thought in mind, the warp demon also rubbed his hands, expecting Su Yan to make a deal with him. But at this moment, Su Yan asked him indifferently, "Do you eat garlic?" Hearing this sentence, the warp demon was also stunned for a moment. Later, upholding professional ethics, the warp demon also spoke patiently. "I can eat garlic, and silver bullets are useless, let alone crosses. I'm a demon, not a blood clan. These things are your fabricated weaknesses. This guest, do you want to continue the transaction?" At this moment, even the warp demons can't take it anymore. At this time, Su Yan showed a mysterious smile. "Then it seems that the blood of the psionicist should have an effect on you. 35. Hearing this sentence, the warp demon discovered that the gap that he had just been penetrated by the bomb had not recovered, and Su Yan calmly smeared his own blood on the bomb. Then, he raised the bolt gun in his hand again. At this time, the face of the warp demon also showed a hint of fear. Damn. From the beginning, you never intended to trade with me. You are right about this. 33. Bang. 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 After a few gunshots, the body of the warp demon flew straight up like a rag doll. Su Yan stepped forward and used his own blood to destroy the magic circle. I saw that after the structure of the devil's magic circle was destroyed, the entire magic circle became weaker and weaker. At this moment, the voice of the warp demon came from the magic circle. Bastard! I remember you. The sound became smaller and smaller, and the bodies scattered on the ground also turned into fly ash. Su Yan looked at the blood on her hands, and it seemed that she would need to draw more blood in the future for emergencies. The blood of the psionicists actually has such a use. Loss. Eyebrow. Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share and subscribe. Have a great day.